There are 14 characteristics that make up a fascist regime. The first is a powerful and continuing sense of nationalism. They use flags, patriotic imagery, slogans to denote this idea that if you oppose them, you actually hate your nation. The second is a disdain for the recognition of human rights. They use the fear of enemy, fear of other, national security to suspend civil liberties and avoid things like due process, which leads to number 3, which is identifying an enemy and scapegoating someone as a unifying cause. They rally their base into a patriotic frenzy against a group of people, usually minorities, who are now being blamed for the problems of the nation. The fourth is an over-bloated military, the supremacy of the military. They're overfunded in the midst of even domestic or natural disasters needing to be fixed. The military contains more of that funding and then is often used against the citizens. The fifth is rampant sexism. These are male-dominated regimes that are really focused on strict gender roles, traditional family values, pushing women into the home, out of the public life. They also are very anti-abortion, anti-feminist, anti-gay, and LGBTQ because that fits into the gender roles that they're using to establish a power hierarchy. The sixth is the control of the mass media. Now, this can come directly by establishing loyalists or penalizing groups that speak out against them. It also can come indirectly through threats of suing, financial loss, but also rewarding loyalists that are participating in journalism. The seventh is this overemphasis on national security. They use this as an excuse that there are threats from within, from without, to suspend civil liberties and overreach on executive power. The eighth is that religion and government become married. They use whatever the dominant religion of the nation is. They start to use those terms and terminology to endear that dominant religion to them and to give this idea that God has given them the power to make these overreaches and make this step. Because communism and fascism are similar in the sense that a very small group of people have control of all the resources and money and decide who gets what underneath them. In fascism, it's typically one person. In communism, it's typically a party. But capitalism isn't that much different. It's corporations and oligarchs who decide who gets what's underneath. But the most dangerous form of government is a theocracy, because the only thing more dangerous than these groups of people deciding who gets what is someone deciding that they have been sent by God to overreach on this power to abuse anyone who opposes them. Number 9 is that corporate power is protected, and number 10 is that labor power is suppressed, because the only real threat to a fascist regime is organized labor, because if the workers don't go show up and they don't go on strike, the entire regime collapses, because ultimately it's about money. Number 11 is the demonization of the intellectuals and the arts. You'll see attacks on universities, threats about funding. Artists and academics will be threatened with arrest. They'll often be called terrorists, and there'll be this kind of ludicrous idea of like demonizing and mocking people that are higher educated. Number 12 is this obsession with crime and punishment. Police within these regimes often have unbridled power to the point where there's so little accountability that cruelty is often encouraged. 13 is this rampant cronyism and corruption, appointing friends and loyalists that will not hold you accountable for your actions, as well as things like accepting bribes. And lastly, 14 is fraudulent elections. Elections become a scam. They're often manipulated. Redistricting happens, or certain groups of people are no longer allowed to vote so that the legislation and so that the elections go your way, often to the point of there not being a free and fair election at all.